Hello, my name is Rick Houston, and welcome to the Scene Vault Podcast, your source for all things NASCAR history. Presented by QWare. Maintain excellence.
This thing drives like a Cadillac on the interstate highway. I have been driving a pickup truck on a gravel road.
The day NASCAR and all of us associated in any way with NASCAR forget its past, that's the day we don't have any future.
Now, in 1980, you do run 19 Winston Cup races, and you actually pick up 5 top 10 finishes. You're driving for Cecil Gordon. You drive for your own stuff, and you also drive for Nelson Malik, I believe.
Yeah, how that worked out was, just we did the one rental ride for Cecil, but then late in the season, about halfway through the season or so, Nelson had been trying to run a car and ran out of money, and he had some cars and he had some motors, and he still wanted to be involved.
Okay.
And so I was running a partial schedule, and he came to me and said, "Lake, would you like to have this stuff to use? And
okay.
Let me just be part of it,
Okay.
Put my name on it, whatever." And I said, "Great, awesome. It means I can run a few more races." So that was it.
Now, was the competition that you faced better, worse, or pretty much in line with what you expected at that time as a rookie?
It was pretty much what I expected. And the reality of it was, let's put it this way, the hard part was I did not know enough about the cars. The driving part wasn't the problem.
Right.
The getting the car to do what it needed to do was a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a few drivers, I'd tell you, Benny Parsons was the most help to me. Darel knew everybody and had a pretty good relationship with most everybody, so he wasn't squeamish at all about asking somebody to help me. And he went to Benny early on and told Benny, "Look, like somebody going to tracks he's never been to before, never made a lap on it. Would you please take him out in a passenger car and drive him around the track and just give him some pointers and give him some idea of, what to expect and what to do?" And so Benny did that. And I can remember one other occasion at Michigan. We were at Michigan that first year in '80 and struggling, trying to get the car to go fast enough and whatever. And I thought it was driving pretty good and doing whatever. And Darel went and got Cale. Cale jumped my car and went out and ran the thing in practice and came back in and told me, "Car's pretty good, motor stinks." It just won't run. He said, "But the car's all right." He said, "And boy, you need to take that steering wheel and get it back here close to you." He said, "Just out front stuff may be all right for sports cars and go-karts, but it ain't gonna make it with these things." You got to be able to wrestle them.
Yeah.
So that, we had got some help from those guys like that. And Benny helped me until I outran him. And when I finished ahead of him one race, later on, he said,
You're on your
own now, buddy. You're doing good."
Yeah. 1983, you do come up with a pretty major ride with Hoss Ellington. How did that come about?
80, back up. I ran my car in 80, and then I ran it again in 81.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 81, I'd spent what I had money-wise, and I had to close up shop. We closed up and let the guys go. A friend had a couple of 18-wheel trailers, put my stuff in it and sent it to Mississippi, what was left. And over that winter, Roger Hanby called me and said, "Would you be interested in driving my car?" He said, "I don't have much money to run with and everything, but if you just want to be out there and get experience and be involved, I'd love to have drive a car." And so I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And so I drove Roger's car in, was that 82?
Mm-hmm.
82. And I don't know how much you knew about this or not, but Roger really kind of ran out of Junior's junk pile. Just stuff when they got through with it.
No, I didn't.
And didn't care anything about having it anymore. And Roger had a couple of guys that were high school kids that were literally putting the motors back together, assembling the motors and the cars and whatever. And then he had a couple of friends that that just were racing friends that had their own businesses. They'd come help and do whatever. So that's what we went to the racetrack with. Well, during that time, there was a few times we had cars that would run fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd go good. And the guys would get them set up right and, close, and we'd go and run. Usually something would break because we're using old stuff, So, but during that time, I think I got a lot of people's attention. The first year should have got a lot of people's attention with no more experience, and I hadn't finished and running the top 10 so much. But running with Roger stuff, I think, really kind of sealed the deal for some of them that, hey, wait a minute, this guy might be able to drive. And so we worked a deal, tried to get some sponsorship to go along with everything. And Hoss and them just ran a limited schedule. And I don't remember, I think somebody else put us together. I can't remember how that actually happened. I have to really dig back in my memory on that one. But anyway, we wound up getting with Hoss and those guys. And coolest thing that happened was if they said, okay, here I'm coming out of Roger Hamby's cars just to, just ride and drive, just drive around, and just try to finish the race kind of deal to go and try to win the race. I said, look, we're going to take you to Daytona test. He said, we got some stuff, we're trying some new stuff we want to test, and had a new body style car with a different body style on it, whatever. Yeah. No. Still had the old style. He said, we're just going to go down and test. Try some motor stuff or whatever it was. So we go down there, and Shelton, Runt, Pittman, I think as much of the man I can't call it.
Yeah.
He taught me how to stock car race.
Okay.
He taught me. He took a guy that had a lot of ambition and a lot of drive and nerve, but didn't really know how to do it correctly. And really honed me. But first time to go out on the racetrack, he said, look, there's no pressure, nothing, if you can't run the thing wide open all the way around the track, don't worry about it, just work your way up slow, take it easy, and, we're down here to get you going. I fired that thing up and went down pit road. When I got turn 1, I said, dang. I came off turn 2, and it was like, no wonder. This thing drives like a Cadillac on the interstate highway. I have been driving a pickup truck on a gravel road. No wonder. If I'm going down the back straightaway, I'm saying, no wonder they've won these races. You got a car that drives like this. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hit turn 3. I never checked up. I came around the first lap flat out. ran 2 or 3 laps flat out to the mat. When I came in, pulled down the window net and said, don't take you very long to warm up, does it? And I told them that same thing. I said, you don't believe what I've been driving. You just don't understand how good this is. Yeah. And there's a bunch of races we almost won that year.
Well, you go to Rockingham early in the year, you finish 4th, then you go to Talladega, you finish 3rd, and it seemed like you were. Yeah. It seemed like
Talladega one, we had won.
Yes. Yeah. It seemed like you were knocking on the door.
Oh, we were more than knocking on the door.
Yeah.
We almost won Darlington the first time, too.
Okay.
First race.
What was your mindset like at that point? Were you...
It was like, all right, now...
Were you back to that kid at the World Championships?
I was thinking that. I'm thinking if I knew that Hoss's didn't have the resources that we were racing against, but they had the knowledge.
Right.
We had the speed. We didn't have the reliability, or Shelton was building the motors and doing the cars, and it was only like 3 or 4 guys, maybe 3 guys that were preparing that car to go to race.
Wow.
And then they had weekend guys that came in, to pit the car. But I was sitting there looking at that, thinking to myself, my goodness, if he had enough money, telling him we could win a lot, like that. So my confidence level was really high when I was running with those guys. And I got parts in there to show you that broke. I think
You
it's
have
either-
the parts.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. Either the first race at Darlington or the second race at Darlington, I had the whole field a lap down, except one car. Darel was the only one on the lead lap with me, and he was not going to be a problem. I was just cruising.
Yeah.
I was just cruising, waiting to get laps. 20 laps to go, broke a valve.
Mm.
You know, just there was a bunch of them like that.
Now, I do want to ask about Talladega.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me a story at one time that was eventually turned into a cover story in a Christian magazine that I was writing for at the time.
Yep.
You were pretty. That race impacted you in a lot of ways,
Okay.
and not just professionally.
Yeah, that was the May race of
83.
'83.
Yeah.
I could tell you, that second half of the race, we led the whole thing, I think, as far as I remember. And only Richard and Benny could draft with me, hang on to me.
Yeah.
And then they had a caution, and kind of like the guy not having gas. Like I said, Hoss did as good a job as he could do to afford to do.
Yeah.
But he didn't buy any more tires. He didn't have any tires. And he last pit stop, I come in to pit and ain't no tires there.
Oh, wow.
The other guys all get fresh stuff and
Yeah,
go out,
yeah.
and I finished third instead of winning the race. That one would have won, should have won that race.
Right.
And that was part of the whole deal with Holy Spirit speaking to me while I was leading, thinking I was fixing to win the
Yeah.
race before the caution came out, saying, okay, what are you going to do if you win here too, big boy?
And where did you
Remember, this all started this was going to be something I couldn't
Yeah,
do. Wasn't
yeah.
going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Never be successful.
Yeah.
Made me start thinking and wondering, and what the heck, what I came here for. If it's all going to be back to the same old deal, what's this life all really about? And that's when the Holy Spirit told me, you need to go pick up that book. It's been about 2,000 years old. Start reading it and see if you can't figure it out.
Wow.
I did.
Lake, you were with Hoss for 2 years, and you parted ways for whatever reason at the end of 1984. What happened? Was it just money, or
No.
just
no,
running out, or
No. Ambition.
okay?
I knew how good they were and how good we were doing, and on a shoestring budget, and wasn't sure that what they were going to have for the following year, if it was going to work out or not. At the time, they didn't have anything lined up for
Okay.
the next year. And about that time, the guys at Rahmoc called me and asked me if I'd be interested in driving their car. And Neil had won several races in it, not that year, but 2 years before.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew they had ability to run really well and win races. And plus, they wanted to run all the races. They were running all the races, and Hoss was only running 15 races.
Yeah.
My aspirations has all of a sudden has gone.
Yeah.
They've given me just enough to light my fire to want to go for the big prize. And so that was an opportunity to go there and do that. And, you know, the Rahmoc guys were convinced that the way I'd run the last 2 years, that when their cars and equipment and what their background was, that we surely would get sponsorship,
Yeah.
to do it. And they were really tied close with Pontiac was a big supporter of theirs, and so we prayed hard and just asked Lord if this is where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to do, or whatever, and felt like He said, "Yeah, green light, go."
Now, how did
So
Nation?
we moved from Mississippi. Risa and I had gotten married in '84. Then we moved to North Carolina and all in.
How did Nationwise come about? Was it the night before the race, or?
Yeah, this is a really cool story, and gives you a reflection of Bob and Butch's heart too. They borrowed money to go down there to that race.
Did they
We
really?
had to borrow money. I remember going to the bank with Butch to get the money. But we went down there with a white car with nothing on it
Yeah.
and debt, and knowing that if something good didn't happen, that it was be the last race. You know, they had to close up.
Wow.
So you can only imagine the driver is there. I'm not back in Mississippi anymore. I'm there. I'm in the shop all day, every day, watching them prepare the cars and knowing what's going on. So they've got other people that are looking for sponsorship for them and whatever, and I'm dialing for dollars myself. I'm not leaving any leaves unturned. I'm out there calling to anybody, everybody I could think of, and doing whatever, which I've been doing it for the last few years anyway with Haas's bunch. But getting close time to leave to go to Daytona, there's nothing happened. A lot of people saying they wanted to do something, thought they were going to do something, but nobody's been willing to sign a check or write, you know.
Well, sign the check's one thing. It clearing the bank.
Yeah, I'd learned about you. I'd already learned a lot about that in the prior years. I had a bunch of that didn't clear, but bad experiences, but life experience, good life experiences. Anyway, one day I'm in the office there, and I pick up the phone to call somebody, and Holy Spirit speaks to me and says, "Lake, I told you I was going to take care of this." I put the phone down. We went down there, practiced good, qualified good, and on Saturday, during the Bush race, I was up in the Goodyear Tower, my uniform on and everything, ready to go do the last practice right after the race is over, like we normally always did. And there was a guy in there that came over to me and said, "Look," introduced himself, and he said, "I came down here to put a little sponsor a car, one of the top front cars, and they told me to come and, you know, they'd work out something." He said, "But since I've been down here, they won't even talk to me. I can't get them to even talk to me." And he said, "And I got a bunch of customers in the grandstands, and I need a car to put my name on." And besides that, before he got to that point, he said, "I don't know. I've never been to a stock car race. I don't know what's going on. Can you tell me what's happening out here?" So I had to spend some time with him to tell him what's happening. And then he told me about the sponsorship after that. But I'd already done all that stuff anyway, just helping the guy. So I told him, I said, "Well, I can't do anything for you for the other guys, but I can tell you this. We got a white car down here that has nothing on it. And we'd be glad if you put your name on our car for the race tomorrow for sure."
Yeah.
The owners are here, and I told them about the guys. I said, "You want to get together tonight and talk about it and do it?" He said, "Well, good, let's do that." And so they met that night, and the guy said, "Well, I don't have a whole lot of money, you know, what doing, you know, but I'll give you what I got, and, you know, put a sticker on the car, and at least I'll have something to go." Well, next morning when I came to the track, I go to the garage, and the car's already gone. I thought, well, they're already going through inspection. So I went over to the inspection area and didn't see the car over in the inspection area. I said, "Heck," I started asking around. I asked one of the inspectors, I said, "Is our car gone through yet?" And he said, "Yeah, it's already, it's right around the fence over here." And I walked around over there, and there's a sign painter over there painting Nationwide auto parts all over the car.
By hand.
By hand.
By hand.
By hand painting this car like they were a big time full sponsor. I mean, they had Nationwide all over the car everywhere, you know. And
was the paint dry when you started the race?
No, he's still painting when I'm there. So
there's streaks on it. Okay.
So that when the race started, the paint was still wet. You know, not real wet, but it was still, it wasn't dry, you know. So that's how the thing started. Okay, so we start the race and have a great race, and wind up being the only car in the lead lap with Bill Elliott when it was over with. And now the really strange stuff starts happening. I don't know what the announcers had been saying or whatever, but obviously they must have been telling the story about the circumstances a team was under or whatever in the race, and then finishing second and whatever. So the first place car goes to Victory Circle. The next 4 go to the gas pumps, fill up, and they weigh them and check them all out post-tech. Well, I'm the first one to the gas pump, so I go through the gas pump. I pull away from the gas pump, and the CEO from Nationwide comes running up to my car, grabs the window net and pulls the window net down and says, "I don't care what we have to do. We're not taking our name off it." He said, "I promise you, we're going to come up with a sponsorship for this thing for the full season."
Now, is that before or after you were on TV?
This is before.
For the post. Okay.
This is,
All right.
I'm
Okay.
in the car. I'm still in the car.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I hadn't even got out of the car, and he comes running up there and pulls the net down and starts screaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, "We're not taking our name off this car, man. I'm going to get the money somewhere. I'm going to get it. Just don't worry about it." So now get out of the car, and Reese's shows up, and crew guys show up, and whatever, come to the car, and then here comes the TV crew. Here comes Mike Joy and was that CBS, ABC?
CBS.
CBS, whatever it was. So here comes this camera crew down there. And he comes up to me and, congratulations, whatever, and everything. He says, sticks a microphone in my face, says, "What does this mean to you?"
Yeah.
"What does this mean to you?" And the Holy Spirit said, "I told you I was going to take care of this, didn't I?"
I got it. I got you.
God. I couldn't do anything but just praise God and just thank the Lord, because, I've experienced several big-time God-sized miracles in racing.
Yeah.
And that one floored me.
Yeah.
And still does.
So you get the sponsorship.
Yeah.
You run that entire year, and then in 1986, you run the first 4 races of the year. And although you get a couple of top 10 finishes, you're replaced. What happened there?
How can I just do this the right way? We left Daytona second in the points. By Atlanta, we were leading the points. And halfway through the season, we were running the front group all the time, everywhere we were going, with threat to win, pretty much every place we went. Halfway through the season, they made a rule change on the engines. And the second half of the year, we struggled.
Okay.
And I think there was a lot of finger pointing, I guess, might be the easiest way to do it, as to why we weren't running good. And then the Ford deal with Bill killing everybody was happening, and one of the owners decided they need to build a Ford too. Maybe they might have to switch from Pontiac, which Pontiac had been really good to them for a long time. But Wright was on the wall. He said, "We might have to go Ford," and so they built a Ford and decided to run that. Oh, then 4 races in the year, they decided they didn't going to field but 1 car, and so they let me go. And but God had a plan.
You run one more race that year at Charlotte, I think, for Morgan McClure.
That was Atlanta.
Oh, was it Atlanta?
I think it was Atlanta.
Okay. All right.
At least I remember driving a car from them in Atlanta.
Okay.
I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but I just do remember that.
How hard was 1986 for you?
86 was, the beginning of 86 was reality check. You remember? Thought this wasn't ever going to happen.
Yeah.
maybe the run out of gas. Maybe it's older.
Yeah.
You know, because you just don't. First of the season, there's not anything opportunities unless somebody gets killed or severely hurt somewhere or something like that, and that wasn't happening too much by then. You know, in the earlier '80s, it was more frequent that there were people getting really injured seriously. But anyway, I really, after I thought it was over, and I was sitting out here in this little white house right out here digging a flower bed one day, try to spruce it up and doing whatever, and the Lord spoke to me again and said, Lake, you're going to need to do your own team. It's the only way you're going to get there. Nobody's going to hire you. You got to do your own team. And I sort of chuckled. I said, Lord, you know that's not possible.
This is you telling the Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, you know I owe money on this property I have here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I hadn't bought it. I bought it we bought it in '85. So I said, I'll still, got a mortgage on this place now, and how can I do it?
Yeah.
He said, you do today.
Watch this.
He said, you do today what you can do, and let me take care of the rest. And I thought, okay, what could I do? I got 100 acres here. I mean, we don't have to go buy any land anywhere to do a deal. Junior Johnson's the most successful car owner right now in the sport. His shop's about, as far as this one is from my house, it's about where his was.
Yeah.
Behind his house. He's there 24/7 to oversee everything that goes on. Except this was a hill here instead of a flat place. And I'd bought a bulldozer before to clear pasture and stuff for Reese's horses. And so I got on the bulldozer and started pushing dirt and getting a pad ready to build a building on.
How soon after that?
Right after that.
Really?
I didn't mess around. I was like, okay, God, if you're... I had no reason not to be obedient.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I started doing it. And I had a friend of mine here in town said, what are you doing? I said, well, he's a good, solid Christian, known me since probably '84. And I told him the story, and he said, well, I'm going to have to get you some help because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
He said, if you build a building on that dirt that you just did, it'll all fall in a few years. So he went and helped me get some equipment, prepare the pad properly and whatever. And about that time, I got a letter in the mail that a company that I had stock in had for years and years and years and never gotten anything from it whatsoever, that ownership decided they were going to liquidate it, sell it and liquidate it. And I got a check for exactly how much it cost to build this shop and put all the equipment in it.
Wow. Okay.
When I told a few people, word got out that I was fixing to build something. And I had some crew guys start driving up the driveway. I asked him,
Yeah.
want to know,
Yeah.
said, we'd like to help. And we probably set a record for building a building faster than anybody's ever seen one built in their life. A bunch of racing people put the foundation down, got the concrete poured. And a friend of mine that was a racing fan in Mississippi that manufactures metal buildings gave me a real deal on a building, sent a crew up here. We had the pad poured, I think if I remember right, it was poured on a Friday. Their crew showed up on Tuesday. I think it was 4th of July. Weekend was that Monday or something. They showed up. They left Friday and the building was up, done.
Wow.
We had these offices and everything framed up before they had all the roof on it back here in the back. This was July the 4th weekend, the week after July the 4th. The month of June, that month, the 30 days, it was over 100 degrees every day.
Yeah.
The crew would come to work from sun up till about 11 o'clock, take off, and then come back 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and finish. Those guys erected this building in 3.5 days.
Wow.
And we finished doing everything out here. And we had the first car on the track that was built right here. Motors, car, everything, testing at Talladega in December.
Wow. How big?
Amazing. Amazing.
How big a deal was Hoosier coming on board?
It was awesome because I'd never been able to get any support from Goodyear myself, and any of the teams that I was working for never, that I knew of, didn't ever get any help from anybody. And Phil and those guys are nice people, and I'm crazy about them, but I was too small a deal for them to be involved with and help. Yeah. And even the Oldsmobile people, the guys said, well, I can't really help you to amount to nothing, because it's just kind of a late deal, and we'd already got all our programs lined up and everything. But he said, I'll try to help you whatever I can, And so when Bob called me, Hoosier guy called and wanted to know if I was interested in doing anything with them, and he said, get your tires and testing. We're doing testing. If you want to test, he said, we'll pay for everything on the test and do all like that. I said, okay, buddy. Now, I know from experience that the top teams test for Goodyear, and they come to the track, they're ready when they get to the track. They've already been there and run, and it didn't cost them tires, didn't cost them anything, just go and run. I said, Bob, yes, I think I would like to do this very much. This is going to be big for us. Now, what the value was to it, I don't know how you can measure that, because we went to the track prepared when we went to the racetrack, and we came really, really close to winning all the races. Yeah. The first ones. We were in contention to win every race of the first half of the season.
Did you face any clapback from any of the teams that had stuck with Goodyear? Was there any kind of, pushback on you, or?
I'd never noticed it if it was. I mean, I think everybody knew the situation we're in. Here you are, a startup team with hardly anything, but they all had seen how I'd run before, too. So I think I had won the respect of a lot of people we'd gotten an awful lot out of very little, all the way through. So. Mm-hmm.
All right. You go to Charlotte, the World 600, and you finish third.
Yeah.
How big a deal was that? That must have been a big moment.
Every race I went to, I thought I was going to win.
Okay.
So third was just not good enough.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That wasn't.
Yeah.
Look, 88. Went to Daytona. And I don't think it was Hoosiers. I don't think that had to be. I don't. I mean, I'm just at a loss right now about the tires
Yeah.
when that happened. But '88, we went to Daytona and qualified decent, and went straight to the front and leading the race on and off, switching the lead with Bobby and
Davey?
Davey.
Okay.
Bobby and Davey were there at the front. I got up there to them, run right with them. I was the only one out of the draft could run side by side with them lap after lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had an extremely fast car, extremely fast car, and a crankshaft. I'll show you. The snout broke off the crank. The next race we went to was Richmond. I got the whole field a lap down. I passed everybody, put up the whole field a lap down there, up there. And poor decision kept us from winning that race up by a lap.
Wow. Okay.
Next race we go to is Rockingham, I believe.
Yeah.
And led a lot of that. And I don't know where I finished real close front, maybe second, something.
Yeah.
Up there. And you go to Atlanta after that. And I think we were running really well there too. I think a screwdriver went through the radiator on that one. Somebody's screwdriver fell out of the car and went through my radiator.
Yeah.
Took us out of that. So when I get to Charlotte, it's like, we just don't have any problems. We can win.